ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी शरणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। So, welcome everyone to IBC Siksha session on chapter number 14th of Bhagavad Gita. So, we just completed yesterday 13th chapter. In 13th chapter, Krishna explained about many concepts he explained. He explained about Prakriti, Purushaha, field, knower of the field, knowledge and object of the knowledge, right? And went through all over the thing, and we also learned that we should see in everyone as soul, and everyone's body we should see there is a super soul. So when we pay obeisances, we are paying obeisances to the super soul in the other body, and there is one super soul in all the bodies, and individual souls are different. They individual souls only know about their body, and super soul knows of all the bodies. So when we have this kind of knowledge, then we see spiritual vision, and we can then take to spiritual life fast and advance very nicely when we have knowledge, right? So in this section, in the 22nd verse, Krishna said something. He said, Purushaha prakristho bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangasya sadasad yoni janmashu. What he said was, the living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So here he says that the living entity get new bodies according to the karma and all that, and these bodies are having gunas, qualities and modes. So there are three gunas, and using these three gunas he meets with good and evil, and faces the consequences. So now the question is, what are the three modes of material nature? Sattva gun, rajogun, tamas gun. What are they? What are exactly all this? So that becomes the part of the 14th chapter. So let's get into the 14th chapter. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, I shall declare you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. So this particular knowledge that we are going to read, the three modes of material nature, these the sages have also known. All the Rishi Munis and all, they know this knowledge perfectly. And because they know this knowledge, they achieve liberation. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. That is liberated state. Just by knowing this knowledge and implementing this knowledge. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So at death, one is not disturbed. And because he is liberated, he won't take birth again. Okay? So this is such a knowledge. And yeah. So so we have this nice table here. which will give us very nice understanding of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva gunas. So we'll go through this table as we go further. Okay, so somebody start reading from the purport.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. From the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, the Lord Himself is further enlightening Arjuna. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. In the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. It has also been explained that it is due to the association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be the superior to the knowledge given so far in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attain perfection and transfer to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. The knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, Prabhuji, you have to scroll. And knowing this may attain perfection. Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So these modes of material nature, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. Okay, all three. If we know, then we can take help of these three modes and achieve liberation. Okay, so that's how the sages understood these three modes, and they use these three modes to you know to mold their material and spiritual life in such a way that the three modes are helping rather than opposing. Okay, so this is the um, amazing knowledge of this particular chapter. Let's go ahead. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendent nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Someone read the purport?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, read, Madhavi. Yeah.
After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. It is understood from Vedic literature that the liberated souls who have reached the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always look to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his transcendental loving service. So, even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. Generally, in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in that transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Person. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities of the material form, this spiritual identity becomes formless without any variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in this world, in the spiritual world, there is also variegatedness. Those in ignorance of this think that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. But actually, in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. One who thus develops the spiritual qualities is not affected either by the creation or by the destruction of the material world. Thank you.
Okay. So Okay. So, to be fixed in the transcendental nature like Supreme Lord is to reach the spiritual world. Okay. And if we are in this material world, to be on that spiritual platform. Um, okay. Some points Prabhupada discussed here that in the spiritual world, it is not formless. We have spiritual forms over there. Can you tell me what are we doing in the spiritual world? Have you heard about it?
Do service, do
We will
service.
serve Lord Krishna, Prabhuji.
How will our
We
body
will be
be?
serving.
How
Body
We
will?
will have a
we will have
spiritual body.
four hands,
Sachidananda.
Prabhuji.
Huh?
We'll have four
Spiritual
hands.
body.
Sachidananda. Same
Yeah,
body.
Sachidananda body. But what type of body will get? Man,
Just like
woman,
Krishna
animal.
with four hands.
No, that is Vaikundam. Here, anything, Prabhuji, whatever we desire to be, to serve Krishna, we will get such bodies. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we as part and parcel of Krishna, we already have some material. Sorry, spiritual identity. Okay, we already have that, and when we do devotional service, that spiritual identity will be revealed to us. Now, because we are connected to Lord Chaitanya, it is most likely that we will enter Golok Vrindavan.
Hmm.
Okay, it will be beyond the Vaikuntha planets in Golok Vrindavan with Krishna. So there are other sampradayas where devotees will enter Vaikuntha planets and they may have four-handed form of Krishna. I mean Vas Narayan. They may have four-handed form. They may go to planets where there is Kurma, Varaha, Hayagriva, Narsimha. Okay, then there are devotees of Lord Ram. They will go to Ayodhya and there they will serve the Lord in the form of monkeys, animals, human beings. Hmm? Then Krishna in Dwarka is there. So Dwarka Vasis, that place is also there. And then there is Golok Vrindavan, where one will be serving Krishna in whatever our eternal spiritual form be. And that form could be Gopa, Gopi, some kind of animal, or elderly Gopa, elderly Gopi, like that, or maybe very young girl or very young boy, like that. Krishna is eternally, I think, 16 years old there, and Radharani is also eternally 16 years old. um so anything in that age, 1 to 16. Krishna's friends and all same age, little less age, like that, or maybe as in a parental form, Nanda, Yashoda and all, or maybe grandfatherly, grandmotherly. So we don't know what is our eternal form right now, but as we do pure devotion service, it will be revealed to us. Okay. But it will be a form, it won't be formless. The important point is it will be a form, but it won't be formless. And only thing is that form is spiritual. It is not material. Material is limited form, na? But spiritual form is not duality. Meaning, this particular body we have gives us happiness and distress both. But spiritual, and then it changes. It changes, right? A baby to youth to old age and then disease and die. But that is not the form of the spiritual world. It will remain the same for eternity. Okay, in that we will serve the Lord in what is called as five rasas. There are five rasas. In simple, we'll say loving devotional. Loving devotional relationship. Okay, first one is Shantaras. Second one is Dasyaras.
That's a
Third one
parental.
is Sakhya Ras. Fourth one is uh,
Parental.
Vatsalya. Vatsal. Fifth one is
Conjugal love, no?
Madhurya. Madhurya. So Shantaras is where the interaction is not, it's like cloth or ornament, animals like that. Dasya is like Hanuman. Okay, Sakya is like Arjuna. Vatsalya is like parental is Nanda, Yashoda, Devaki,
Yashoda Maiya.
Devaki and Vasudev, right? Madhurya is like
Conjugal love,
Lakshmi,
Radharani.
Rukmini. Now there are two types of Madhurya. One is Swakiya and one is Parakiya. Swakiya is when they are married to Krishna, Lakshmi, Rukmini, Satyabhama and all that. And Parakiya is where they are not married to Krishna. And that is where Radharani and the gopis come. Ashtagopis. And many others, and the Manjaris and all that.
Prabhuji, Lakshmi and Rukmini are not the same. Huh? They are both the same only, no?
So, see, Lakshmi is found in Vaikuntha planets also, no? With Narayan and all. But Rukmini is only with Dwarka. Dwarkavasi. Dwarkadish. So there is no Lakshmi, but there is Lakshmi in the form of Rukmini. So it is like this. Radharani expands into Lakshmi. Yeah.
Lakshmi.
So Radharani expands into Sita, Radharani expands into
Rukmini also.
Satyabhama, Rukmini, and she expands into Lakshmi. Like that.
Prabhuji, in terms of Krishna's relationship, do we have any Dasya Bhav devotees?
Yeah, there are. I don't know the names, but there are servants of Krishna. I'm just giving name.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, just famous. Yeah.
So there
Just
are
now it
friends
got
and
a
all that,
strike.
Madhu Mangal and all that. Actually, in the
Yeah, they are
Dasya,
friends.
in the Vaikuntha planet, there is Nanda Sunanda.
Okay.
Let's put Garuda also here.
Yeah, that is in terms of Vishnu, but in terms of Krishna, I
In
just
terms of
wanted to.
Krishna, right? There's a big list, but I'm not so aware of the pastime.
I just thought of getting. Okay, no problem.
So in Sakya there is Madhu Mangal and so many names are there, but I'm not aware of the pastimes in Golok Vrindavan, detailed pastimes. But yeah, that is what it is. In Vatsalya, Nanda, Yashoda, Devaki, Vasudeva, and even others also there. Yogamaya. Because the Vatsalya is parental and grandparental. And uncle and auntie also come here. So sometimes, Vidura also talked like Vatsalya only. Vidura from Mahabharata. He also talks like, he's Vatsalya. And there are many details to it. It is in Nectar of Devotion, but this is what it is. So we'll have these kinds of forms. Okay. One of this is set for us. So when we are revealed in our Krishna consciousness, we will go and we will sit in this form that was already meant for us, and then we will serve Krishna in that form. Now, because we are connected to Lord Chaitanya, most probably we are going to Golok Vrindavan. 99.99%. If we were to go to, say, Lakshmi Narsimha, then probably we won't join this movement. So like that, Krishna knows, so he will direct the souls. But still, Hanuman took part in Lord Chaitanya's pastime.
Okay.
So there are some devotees who don't go to Golok Vrindavan, but they take part in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. They take part in Krishna's pastime also. Like Hanuman took part in Krishna's pastime. Many others like that. Okay? But that are all details. But yeah. So this is the form. So there is nothing formless. There is a form. And we are taking that form, our eternal form, and serving Krishna. Okay. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible birth of all living beings, O son of Bharata. So now Krishna is explaining the creation, how he does. So material substance called Brahman, Mahat Tattva, that's where he impregnates. and then all the living entities with all the bodies they come. Okay, somebody read the purport.
Shall I read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. The total material substance called purport. This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the body and the spirit soul. This combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the Supreme God Himself. The Mahat Tattva is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation. And that total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called Brahman. The Supreme Personality impregnates that total substance, and thus innumerable universes become possible. This total material substance, the Mahat Tattva, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature. Mundaka Upanishad 1.1.19. Tasmat etat Brahmanama Rupam Annam cha jayate. The Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman with the seeds of the living entities. The 24 elements, beginning from earth, water, fire, and air, are all material energy, and they constitute what is called Mahat Brahma, or the great Brahman, the material nature. As explained in the seventh chapter, beyond this there is another superior nature, the living entity. Into material nature, the superior nature is mixed by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore all living entities are born of this material nature.
Okay,
This
wait,
cause,
wait, wait.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So, where is Lakshmi involved here? Do you know? Because he impregnates, right?
Yes.
Is Lakshmi involved here? So in the creation, right, Lord is independent. We have heard this thing, na? Krishna is independent, God is independent, right? So he doesn't require Lakshmi to create or to do creation or impregnate. He can do it without her help. Okay.
Okay,
If
Prabhuji.
in the material world to have child, we have to, you know, get man and woman in marriage, right? Together. Then only they can have a child. Man cannot independently create child. Woman cannot independently create child, right?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. So but for Krishna, because any of his sense can do any other activity and he's independent and he's not dependent, he can impregnate without Lakshmi and he can have all the living entities. There was Lakshmi says, sometimes she prays this thing that, your Lord, you are very independent. I think you need me, but actually you don't need me. Okay.
Mhm.
Read the scorpion.
The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice. But the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Thus, every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by this material nature so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of living entities in this material world. Hare Krishna.
So here it is said that a scorpion comes out of rice. But we know scorpion doesn't come out of rice. Why? Because the scorpion unites and then they lay the eggs in the rice. And after some time, the eggs break apart and come out the babies. Right? Now, same way, in the material world, the mother and father have children. So we can say, the child came because of mother and father. Is that a true statement?
No, it's
How
not true.
come?
Because the actually soul, actually the soul it comes into the impregnates and then get inside the mother and father.
Yes. So, there are many couples who unite. but then no child comes out.
Mm.
Okay. So how come the child comes out in certain occasion and certain doesn't come? In that certain one, the soul is placed in the semen and egg. Okay. Under the direction of Supreme Lord. And because the soul comes in that place, the body develops around the soul. Therefore, this statement is incomplete. So, child came from father and mother
It's not true.
under the direction of Supreme Lord. Okay, so this is the full statement. That without the Supreme Lord, the father and mother cannot independently create child. The Supreme Lord has to place the soul and allow that soul to be, soul to have the body and grow around it. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and I am the seed giving father. So we rightly discuss the same thing. I am the seed giving father. All fathers, material fathers, when they say this is my child, and the mother will say this is my child, Krishna defeats in the fourth text. I am the seed giving father. Very nice verse. Let me just go there. 14. Impossible. Okay, I am the seed giving father. What he says? Aham bija pradapitaha. Aham bija pradapita. Bija seed pita. So what is the seed that Krishna is giving and what is the seed that father is giving? Father is also giving the seed in the form of semen, and therefore he is called Pita. And Krishna is also giving bija, seed, and he is also Pita. But there is a difference, right? See, from the mother comes egg, from the father comes semen, which is also a seed. And Krishna is saying, I also give seed. Then what is the difference? Two seeds or one seed or what?
Krishna's seed is the one which has soul, because he is the person who is giving seed.
Yeah, Jiva. Krishna seed is it. So then what is semen? Okay, what is egg? What is egg?
Egg, it matures into.
No, no. What is egg made of?
It is a
It
yolk.
is a favorable material substance for baby. Let's put it like that. For growth of baby, right? Then what is semen?
It just carries the soul.
Yeah, it's just
Soul
a
is put
carrier.
into that.
It's a
Soul
material
is,
which
Carries.
which is a carrier of
soul.
soul. Okay, so this is what it is. So therefore, who is the real Pita? Krishna is the Pita,
Krishna,
and Mata and this father mother are secondary.
secondary.
So Krishna gives them a chance to become father and mother, and therefore they should become the secondary father mother, and then they should grow the child. They should grow the child according to the desire of Krishna. See, we sometimes, some parents, they send their children to, where do they send? Boarding school.
Boarding schools.
And the boarding school, they ask, what is your desire? How your son should grow? Right? They ask this question. How do you want your son to grow and all that? And depending on that, they make sure the boarding school. So the boarding school said, these are our children, right? The school says, these are our children, right? But they are not actually their children. It is the parents' children. So they are given the responsibility to make it grow, and they have to do it according to the parent, the desire of the parent, right? Similarly, we as father mother should grow nourish our child according to the desire of Krishna.
Krishna.
And if we make them devotee of Krishna, that is the success. Okay, we cannot make anybody a devotee actually. That is also one thing. We cannot make anybody devotee. Why? Can we make anybody
They
devotee?
should also have the past
life.
impressions, Prabhuji.
What? Sorry?
The past life, whatever they had, that continuation, they will become devotees. Past life, they would have practiced Krishna consciousness. They must have left in between. So this life, they will. Everyone cannot become no Prabhuji. Like only when they have practiced bhakti in the past lives, they will be continuing.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we cannot make somebody devotee. It is Krishna who will,
Okay.
make something.
Sukriti should
Okay,
be
how
there.
many
Prabhuji.
engineers are
Highest
there in
credits.
the call? How many engineers are there? Any engineer?
A true engineer or fake engineer, I don't know.
No, whatever. You are engineer. Okay. How many doctor, teacher?
Myself.
Prabhuji. I was a
Okay. We
teacher.
have a teacher,
Was a
engineer,
teacher.
and what? Any more? Accountant? Any more? Administrator? Any more? Homemaker? Okay.
Now we are all homemaker.
Okay,
Because
fine.
before we were teacher, now we are homemaker.
So, can an engineer make his son an engineer? Let's put this simple question. Yes, no, how?
There is a possibility.
Possibility, we can say.
He can provide the environment,
60,
but
40.
it's up to.
Good point. You know, he can provide the environment, teaching, schooling, whatever, to become engineer. But then it will be the child's effort and desire to become engineer, right? So now let's put this understanding. Can we make somebody a devotee? Answer is, we can provide an environment. So at our home, we should provide an environment where they are able to chant, eat prasadam, worship Krishna, go to yatra, associate with devotees, worship Krishna's deity, read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, right? And they should do this happily, not sadly, okay? Happily. No pressure. Then later on, it depends on the child whether they want to continue or how much they want to continue. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So always we should understand this thing, that we cannot make devotees, but we can definitely provide an environment so that their devotional service can be encouraged, supported, helped. But then later on, it depends on the child how much they want to do, how much they will do later on. Okay. So in this regard, Chanakya gives a very nice formula in teaching. He says 0 to 5 unconditional love. Don't force anything. That is 0 to 5 age. Don't force anything. Let the child force you. Whatever the child wants to do, let him do. You do unconditional love. And then from 5 to 15, you discipline. You discipline by love, by strictness, and by some punishment also. Then 15 plus, you become friend. So this is how we should provide the environment. 0 to 5 unconditional love. No force, nothing. Baby who wants to do anything. 5 to 15, we have 10 years of golden period to discipline. You discipline Krishna consciousness, you discipline material education by love. Sometimes by strictness and sometimes by punishment. but this is least to be used. Okay, in terms of Krishna consciousness, this punishment should be least used. Why? Say for material education, doing mathematics, English, whatever, you can use some punishment. But say for Krishna consciousness, can we use this punishment?
No.
No.
Very rarely. Okay, why? The reason why you think we should not use? Why?
Because they'll start they'll totally stop doing it, Prabhuji. Then
Yeah, because the
they
impression will be bad, you know. So we
yes,
want to the to provide the environment should be that it should be done with good impression.
Mm.
Okay, then after 15 years you become friend. So when can we punish and all that? Let's say in Krishna consciousness, when can we punish? There are some ways we can.
When the
There are some situations when one is when they offend a Vaishnava, then we have to be strict. Okay, when they do something which is wrong, so some punishment, you know. But this is rarely to be used. Most of the time strictness and love is enough, and then after 15 you become a friend. Now what does this friend means? What do you think friend means? Friend.
trying to
Share
understand, Prabhuji,
everything.
their capability and try to tell them everything in a way that in which they can understand.
Okay,
so they
first is
actually
friendly.
understand everything, but only friendly way we can teach them.
Okay, we will see some definition. uh, okay, here what friend means, companion, best friend, close friend, acts as a supporter, okay, who's not an enemy, a well-being well-wisher. Okay, so let's put it, where do we go? So
Well
friend
wisher.
means
Suhritam.
Well wisher, we can say.
well-wisher, and
Support, guide.
yes, philosopher,
Understanding.
guide, philosopher, well-wisher, philosopher, guide. Okay, yeah. So well-wisher means thinking good about them.
Mm.
Philosopher means what? Philosopher means if they ask us some question, we should be able to tell them the pros and cons of the situation, and then let them decide what they think. When they are throwing to some difficulties and all that, some philosophy we can say in according to our experience, right? In guidance, we can give the again pros and cons, and then let them decide what they want to do. Okay, theirs will be the decision, but we will provide the pros and cons. Okay, like if they say I want to become a business, I want to start a business, then we should say pros and cons of a business. We should guide them by helping them, you know, like that, and in that way they will advance. So hope this helps. So wherever your child be, you know, wherever child be in this group, you have to become that. You have to take this role. Okay, 8 and 11. Did we read this? No, right? Okay, yeah, read. Somebody read the purport.
Nobody is reading. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet but on every planet, even on the highest where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, there are living entities, even within water and within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So everywhere there are living entities. Water, within fire. Yesterday we discussed mountains and all that,
Mm.
rocks and everything, Amoeba, bacteria, these are all living entities only. Very less consciousness, but living entity. Within this human body itself, there are so many living entities, but there is this one who is superior to others. And then there is a super soul, right?
Mm.
So that's how it is, RBC, WBC, you must have heard this.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So everywhere there are living entities. And depending on that consciousness, they will rule that kind of residential quarter of body. Human body, animal body, so many other bodies. Tree body, aquatics, reptiles and all that. Okay.
Prabhuji, can you please explain the third verse where the Krishna says about Brahman? It is a source of birth. Can you just explain the term Brahman, what they mean here, Prabhuji? That Brahman concept. Third verse.
So, see, why the word Brahman is used is, actually everything is Brahman. The reason is, see, there is sunshine and sun. But the sunshine is also not different than the sun, right? If the sunshine
Yes.
comes in our room, what do we say? The sun
Sun
is
is,
in my room.
yeah.
Is the sun really? No, but because the sunshine, which is part and parcel of the sun, we say that it is the sun, right? So similarly, all the material things that we see is actually also Brahman. Why? Because it came from Brahman, and Krishna is that Brahman, right? And even the living entity, that is Jiva, that we are also Brahman. So therefore, when the Vedas say Aham Brahmasmi and all that, it is a true statement. But
So
then,
Prabhuji, here Brahman, it is not that I'm getting confused with that soul. I mean, that living entity, and here it is a material substance called Brahman. So I'm getting confused with soul
yeah.
and this.
So what I'm trying to explain is, we till now here there is super soul. Let's
Hmm.
put there is supreme Krishna. Then there is individual soul,
Hmm.
Living entities.
living entities, and then there is material nature.
Hmm.
So one thing we know is supreme Krishna is Brahman,
Yes.
meaning
Is
he
it
is
Para
spiritual.
Brahman?
Para Brahman, Brahman, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, he's Para Brahman. Let's put it like that. Now, individual soul comes from where? Where did they come from?
From Supreme Lord
Okay, they
Krishna.
come from Supreme. From Krishna. Let's put it like
Yes, Krishna.
that. And material nature, where it comes from?
That also come from
From
you.
Krishna.
also comes
Krishna's
from
energy.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Brahman is like a surname,
Okay.
Everyone in the family is having the same surname.
Okay.
Why? Because they are part of the same family, na? Therefore, they are called as Brahman. You
Okay, this
understand now?
term used, yes, Prabhuji, is used for both material nature and individual soul. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you,
But
Prabhuji.
but
Thank
the
you, Prabhuji.
Para Brahman term is never used. Brahman
Yeah.
term is used. Why?
Okay.
Because all of them belong to the same family.
Okay.
They are getting the same surname.
Like Atma.
Mm.
Now Atma, the word Atma, there is a very interesting verse
Aham Atma
in
Gudakesha.
sixth chapter.
Right.
In sixth chapter, there is a very interesting verse. Let's put it.
I think fourth or fifth.
Fifth verse. 8 times the word Atma is used.
Yeah.
Okay, but the first time it is used, Atma is the mind. Second time, the Atma is the conditioned soul. Third time, the Atma is the conditioned soul. Then it again the mind. Then Atma means conditioned soul. Atma means mind. Atma means conditioned soul. So to understand which one is all that, but all of it is Atma. Atma means what is our self, right? So sometimes mind is our self also, right? Therefore, to decipher like that. Anyway, so point is, where it is. Yeah, because they are all coming from Krishna, they are also Brahman. So even the material nature is also Brahman. Now, there is a little more explanation to it. The explanation is, if the material nature is used in Krishna's purpose, then it is Brahman. Otherwise, the material nature can be confusing. If the individual soul is independent of Krishna, then he falls down. Otherwise, he comes on the level of Brahman. That is spiritual existence. Now, there's a very nice verse. Good, you are making me think a lot. Brahmanarpana. There is a very nice word which is called Brahman Arpana. Let's see if we can find it.
Brahmaiva hi Brahmana.
Brahma.
I think this one only, 6th chapter only do that.
Okay.
Brahma. 6:16 or something.
Let's see. We will get it. Brahmana. Okay. Yes. This is this one. I'm talking about this one. 24.
Okay.
24. Is this 5th chapter? 4th.
Brahma Arpanam Brahma.
4th chapter.
4th chapter. Okay,
4:24.
yeah. Right.
4:24. Yeah. Brahmanarpana Brahma Havir Brahmanagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmeva Taina Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinam. What it means is, a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom, because his full contribution to spiritual activity, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is also of the same spiritual nature. So when something offered of material nature is given to Krishna, it also becomes spiritual. How come? Is prasadam spiritual or material?
Spiritual.
But it is actually material, right?
Prasadam is spiritual.
But it is actually material. It is made of earth, water, fire, and
it's
it.
matter. Yeah.
First it is
So
It has been offered to the Lord. So
it becomes spiritual because of this verse. What? Brahman Arpana Brahma Havir. If we give it to the Brahman, then it becomes Brahman. So normal food will become Brahman if it is offered to Krishna. So therefore, where it is? Yeah. So therefore, individual soul is Brahman and material nature is Brahman. It means they have to be used back in Krishna's service. Otherwise, they will be confusing. They will be conflicting.
Yes.
So technically, we can use the word Brahman because they are part of the same family. But it also means how we are using it also. If we don't use it, then they don't remain Brahman. They will conflict. They won't. So we are looking at this verse, right? Brahmana Arpana, Brahma Havir. Yeah. So let's see. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor who is giving the contribution, what is given, the consumption, what is consumed, the performer or the leader of the performer, and the result of the everything, ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the absolute, the supreme Brahman. So everything becomes Brahman, right? So matter dotailed for the cause of absolute truth regains its spiritual quality, therefore it can be called Brahman. Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we understood now how prasadam becomes Brahman.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go further. We have 8 minutes left. Okay. Let me read this. Material nature consists of 3 modes. Okay. Now material nature consists of 3 modes. What is it? Goodness, passion, ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with the nature, when the eternal living entity comes in contact with the nature, when it gets the body, when a body develops around it, any body, amoeba, bacteria, aquatic, reptile, territorial, terrestrial, whatever, human, animals, a demigod, he gets these three modes. Oh, mighty Amanjuna, he becomes conditioned by these three modes. These three modes bind him, and we'll understand. The living entity, because he's transcendental, has nothing to do with the material nature. But still, because he has to become conditioned by the material world, he's acting under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because living entity have different kinds of bodies in terms of different aspects of nature, they are induced to act according to that nature. This is the cause of variety of happiness and distress. So in the material body, this goodness, passion, and ignorance is there in various quantities. Okay, in various quantity it is there. So there is a permutation combination. You must have heard this term in mathematics, right? Permutation combination.
Yes, Prabhu.
So simply it means that 50% goodness, 30% passion, 20% ignorance. Or it means 10% goodness, 30% passion, and the remaining 60% ignorance. So like this combination is already given in the body. Now when one gets this kind of combination, then they will act it by that. Now because we are all grown-ups, right? I will give you this example of video games. If you have ever played video games, you will understand what the children are doing. So there is this racing car video game. Now your son or daughter has to choose the car. There are various cars available. One car is sleek, powerful, and its range is 0 to 90. Another car it's a Jeep. It's powerful and its range is 0 to 60. It can take the speed of 0 to 60. It's 0 to 90 in how much? 5 seconds. And here 0 to 60 it will take 8 seconds. And like this, there are other cars. There is a truck. There is a SUV. Right? There is a bus. Now let's have a race among the five. In the video game they choose one of this. Now according to the body that one gets, the car that one gets, in that race that speed will be achieved, right? Getting? So if the child chooses bus, after 10 seconds also everyone has gone further and still his bus is going slowly. So depending on the modes that they have got, they will act accordingly. Getting now?
Yes.
Yeah. So according to our modes we'll have. Okay. So we get different bodies. Let's say elephant.
Prabhuji, just clarifying, based on the body, we'll get that mode, and based on that mode, we will act according to that mode, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So let's say we get the body of elephant, and someone gets the body, some other soul gets the body of man, and another one gets the body of ant. Now, if there is a competition of eating, who is going to win? Elephant will
Eating
win, right?
elephant.
Elephant will win. Okay. If there is a competition of
Climbing the tree.
okay, chalo, climbing the tree or
Ant.
climbing the wall,
Ant.
ant is going to win.
And it's going to win.
Man also does, but ant is faster than man.
Wall is difficult, huh? Ant will do it easily. And if there is a competition of creating a table, this definitely man will win, right? So depending on the body, the ability will be there. Now what is these three modes? Yeah, we'll quickly go through it. And tomorrow we'll I mean, next week we will go in detail. So this is the table. So goodness, as the name suggests, it will be good. Passion, as the name says, it will be passionate. Ignorance will be something which we do. It's not good, basically. Okay. So goodness, what it will do? It will be pure. It will be illuminating. It will be without sinful reaction. Passion will be, it will be desire. Too many desires, hankering. I want this. I want that. Ignorance will be born of ignorance, delusion. Delusion means it will be little bit madness. So if the goodness, if one acts with goodness, then he will have knowledge. He'll be happy. The passion will be fruitive work. What I will get after I doing this work. So what is the fruit here? So fruitive work. Ignorance will be insanity. Something madness will be there. Indolence, alasya, laziness, and sleep. Something done in ignorance will be like this. Then psychological type. How will be the goodness? He will be happy. Passion, he'll be always active. Children are like that. Children are always in passion. And ignorance, helpless.
Helpless.
They'll be helpless. General character, goodness will be happiness, virtue, good qualities. Passion will be work hard, prestige, fortune, anxiety, struggle. And here it will be sleep, illusion, lamentation, false hope, display violence to others. Okay, how will be the work giving satisfaction? In goodness, it will give satisfaction to oneself. Here it will give satisfaction to others through charity. Here it will be no one. Manifestation. The goodness will manifest, our whole body will be illuminated by knowledge. We will know what is done. Here it will be great attachment, intense endeavor, hankering, uncontrollable desire. Here it will be darkness, madness, illusion. How will be the mental and physical symptoms? This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 25th, 16-18 verse. A failure, distortion, clear, like that. Qualities. How will be the qualities? Sense control, mind control, tolerance, discrimination. This is all goodness. Truthful, mercy, passionate, great endeavor, audacity, dissatisfaction, gain, pride, sense gratification, rashness, and madness, intolerant, anger, stinginess, false speech, violent, hatred, quarrel. The result will be pure. Goodness result will be pure. Passion will be misery, and ignorance will be foolishness. Product is knowledge, greed, foolishness. Okay, there are many things. We'll go through all these things. But the point is, goodness is good. Passion will be work hard. Ignorance will be madness. Born of ignorance, sleep, indolence. Passion will be misery. Goodness will be something good will happen. Now, how to understand, how to remember all this big table? Very simple. Tell me the names of three brothers from Ramayana. There are three brothers in Ramayana.
Rama, Bharata, and Shatrugna.
No, Ravana.
Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana.
Yeah. So there are four brothers and there are three brothers. I'm talking about three brothers. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. So Ravana represents. Let's put first Vibhishana. Which mode does Vibhishan represent? Mode of
goodness.
Goodness. We know because good thing happened with him and he did good thing. Okay. Ravana, mode of
Passion.
passion. And Kumbhakarna, remaining mode of ignorance.
Sleeping.
Okay. Now with these three examples, we can go back to the temple and we can see what they were doing. Happy, active, helpless, misery, mind control, sense control, material desire, great endeavor, sense gratification, rash, eagerness to fight, right? Lamentation, quarrel, depression, sleeping too much, Kumbhakarna, laziness, false expectation. So like this. So we'll get into the details from tomorrow. Very interesting. So just by knowing the character of Ravana, of these three brothers, right, we will know what is to be done, what is not to be done, right?
Okay.
And we can then act properly in this material world. Okay. Now this is character. I'm talking about character. Now there are other things which are divided in modes. Time is divided in modes. Music, food, everything in this world is divided in the mode. Day, you name it, and it is divided in three modes. Anything you want to name, any activity, anything, and we'll see that it is divided in three modes. Months also divided in three
Sports.
modes. Huh?
Sports, Prabhuji, sports.
Okay, sports. Yes, sports are also in three modes. Yeah. Every activity. You name it, and all activities are in three modes. Now, how we do it? Do we do it in mode of goodness? That defines the thing. Like, let's take music. Okay, there are three types of music. One is classical,
Carnatic.
Karnataka and all that. Second is
Semi-classical.
Jazz,
Bollywood.
rock.
Let's put Bollywood. And third is
Rock music.
rock, heavy metal. So, we see that when those who learn classical, they are always calm and cool. We don't see them crazy. And those who always Bollywood, they are very craving, hankering. And those who listen to heavy metal are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wear crazy things. Their hairstyle. The
Yeah,
first thing they
lazy.
change is hairstyle. Then they change body. Then something comes up. Right? Okay. So we talked about music. Let's talk about time. How come the time is mode of goodness? What is the mode of goodness time? What is the mode of goodness time? That is
Brahma
Brahma
Murta,
Muhurta. Right. This is mode of goodness time. Then mode of passion. Let's put after 9 or
After 9.
10 a.m. Passionate time, because then you can't do meditation, you have to get to work and all that. And ignorance,
Always sleeping.
Night, late night.
after 7 8 p.m.
8 lakh, yeah. Sleeping.
Sleeping time. So now we know what is the goodness time. So instead of sleeping, we will do studying.
Study.
When we have to earn money, we will do it in that time. When we have to sleep, we will do it in the sleeping time.
Sleeping time.
So we will use these three modes for our own benefit. Now you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Similarly, there is food also, we will discuss. There is sports and all that we'll discuss. Okay. So any question, one question, and we can end. Any question or comment?
Prabhuji, how will come to know that the person is in goodness or passion or ignorance?
See, one thing is, through this table we can understand. But what happens is, like I said, it's a combination of the three, na? So we can understand what is more and what is less. Okay. We cannot clearly say that it is full goodness. Like Vibhishan is full goodness. Ravana is full passion. And Kumbhakarna is full ignorance. But when we consider today's world, right, we are combination of the three. So, but we'll understand what it is more in that person. Goodness, passion, or ignorance. And then we have to direct them. Like I like, in this list we can say job also. Those who have more mode of goodness, they will go towards philosophy, teaching line, right? Passion will be politician, business. Ignorance will be simple work, hard work, or sometimes madness. If the result is going to be madness, then so many shops of liquor shops we see, right, in Bangalore.
Butcher shop.
Butcher shop and all that, like that. So like this, we can, for everything we can see. Now we have to see what kind of, what is the character, like psychophysical nature. We always talk about this thing, psychophysical nature. So psychophysical nature is this combination of three, and from this we can understand what is more in that person. Goodness is more, passion is more, ignorance, and then we can direct them. Okay, now that is one thing. So when we direct them, they will be happy because they are doing things according to their psychophysical nature. Okay, but some psychophysical nature can be changed. It is not like this is constant. Some things are constant, some and many things can be changed. So person can rise from ignorance to passion, passion to goodness. So aim is to come to goodness. So somebody in music, he can change from metal to Bollywood to classical and then come to goodness. Food, he can change the food that he will eat only good prasadam and he will remain in goodness. So by changing, we can increase the modes. One may glide down and increase the lower modes. One may go up and increase the higher modes. So the sages, they will use these modes and they will then utilize all these aspects of our life in such a way that it helps in their material and spiritual life. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, this is how they will strategize. So once we know these modes, how they're going to affect and all, then for certain activities we will use them. For sleep, we cannot be having mode of passion or goodness. We need to be in mode of ignorance. So we will cut down all our activities, everything. We'll turn off the light and then we'll go to sleep. Right? We'll make the bed comfortable. We'll make the temperature comfortable. Right. Passion. Then, to work to get something, we will make our attitude like that. For goodness, when we are devotees, we will try to reduce our passion and ignorance, and we'll try to remain in good. Right? So that way we will avoid the misery and the madness, and we will get good results. Ultimately it is the results, right, which affects and give us happiness and distress. This is what Krishna also said, very first verse he says, not here, I think 13.22, 13/22. He's saying this thing, right, enjoying the three modes and they meet with good and evil. So good and evil everyone goes through. Now they have a choice how to keep us in the good situation. Like Vibhishan had the decision to go with Ravana or not. Kumbhakarna also had the same decision to go with Ravana or not. But Vibhishan was in mode of goodness, so he took that decision, said, Ravana, goodbye, I'm not with you. So Kumbhakarna said, Ravana, you are wrong, but still I'll be with you. So what will happen? The result of ignorance happened? Madness. What happened? Kumbhakarna lost his life.
Yes.
And Vibhishan, he became the next king. And Ravana was misery. Such a misery for his own kingdom. He saw all his children die.
Still he doesn't want to live.
Still he didn't want to live because too much hankering. Okay?
Yes, Bruce.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's meet tomorrow and we'll continue with this wonderful chapter 14th. Not tomorrow, next week.
Okay.